Hello YouTube, Robin Pumpkinhead here, and welcome to the final part of our Halloween special, where we're building a haunted subway station with Ghost Train. Since this is the final part of the Halloween special, it'll be the last time I'm accompanied by the haunted subway construction crew of Billy Bob here on the left and Jim here on the right. That's not to say they won't stay in Brick Nottingham. I think they'll be staying here in the haunted subway station, increasing the number of ghosts that are doing the haunting. Ooh. So on to today's video. I want to, first of all, as often is the case, do loads of your amendments because you've suggested lots of things to improve both this setup and the Ghost Train itself as a result of watching the first 3 parts of this series. So thanks as always for all of those. So I think I'm going to do first of all a quick run round all of the changes to the station. Right, so 2 of the things I didn't get time for last week were the live rail, which I've already added all the way along there, and that would be the electrified rail that would power the train. I'm also going to do one on the front line that's going to have our moving subway train on as well, except I won't attach that down here because the piece of loose track that I've got as part of this station at the moment just down here is just a placeholder for now because we've got that track, the actual track, in the Lego room, of course. So then another thing that I wanted to do last time, but I didn't yet have the stickers because I only just got them on my latest haul, was to add the nameplates to this station. So I got the sticker sheets from the Welcome to the Hidden Side set, 70427. So it's just a missing sticker on the bottom there. And that makes it Newbury Park. And the reason why I wanted that was just because it was a good sounding name for subway station, and also because the sticker looks like it's a bit distressed and a bit sort of falling apart and tatty and old. And I also thought the blue would go really well with these blue tiles as well, on that section at least. So if I add the 2 nameplates, oh, there we go. I think that's looking good. Yep, subtle, but an important detail. Now, another one was actually doing something with this blank window. There were some suggestions that I should get another sticker in order to make 7. Some people didn't like the stickers, some people really liked them. I like them, so I think I'm going to keep them. But everyone agreed that the blank one was no good. So what I've decided to do is remove that, use it for something else, and kind of go back to an idea that I'd already had, which was to make kind of a deep sort of fake window that can have a ghost or something 3D sort of coming out of it. So I went back to that idea with the encouragement of quite a few suggestions. So thanks to them for giving me the renewed energy to go back to that one. A bedoing for you. So what I thought I would do, which is quite a clever plan, is actually use these teeth. So one set there and then another set next to it to kind of echo that bit of the sticker there on the bottom, and another 2 to kind of mirror that bit on the top, to kind of create a kind of brick built 7th sticker that's got the same image, except this one, instead of having kind of just a maelstrom of energy, has actually got a ghost being kind of produced or summoned or whatever it might be. So what I'm going to do is kind of build a box on the back of here, but it's going to be made out of black bricks, so you can't really see how deep it is, having 2 sets of teeth at the front, so using 4 of these pieces, with a ghost pouring out, and I'm going to have a ghostly postman. So that'll be good fun, because obviously the postman might have been a passenger on the train crash that happened all those years ago. So I'm going to get on and do that. Okay, so here's my black box with teeth set up. And you can see it looks pretty ugly at the moment. I've got just a random assortment really of black bricks just to make it look bottomless. And when it's under the table, you won't see any of the light through those cracks. And I've actually used a Technic 1x4 brick upside down, connected by Technic pins to another one, just so I can get the studs pointing downwards in order to fix on the upper row of teeth. And the panel in the back wall is just to give me a bit more room, so when I want to attach my ghostly postman, I'm actually using a post lady because the hair is rather wonderful, is attached, and I can attach her on a hinge brick, there's a bit more space for that back leg to sort of go into, and that's so she looks very much in motion. So you can see that she is crossing from the supernatural side into our world, and it's very full of motion with her arms waving around, the legs moving, and her leaning forward like that. So you won't see all of these bricks when I've put it in place. And I'm sure you haven't failed to notice the fact that this thing is also hanging off it is a Power Functions cable. And as you might imagine, that was for a light. So if I put it in position, which is a bit hard to do with, oh, there we go. Oh, not too bad. You'll see that all of the ugly bricks are now hidden. You can kind of see her leaping out of the wall. And I've tested it, so the big train doesn't actually hit her at all, even though she's leaning out. And that's partially because I've managed to recess this wall kind of by accident last time by using these slope pieces. So that turned out really well. So the idea to light the back window was a very good one. And I think that I might keep it, but the thing is, it's very hard for the wires to reach because it's right in the back of this. This is all going to be submerged underneath the table. So what I'm going to do is, when we've got it in the Lego room, kind of have a look and see if I want to keep the lighted element of it. Because to turn it on, I'm having to do an extension cable all the way around, and then I'm going to have to pass it underneath the live track somehow. And well, it's an absolute nightmare because I'm not going to be able to reach it very well at all. So anyway, we'll see how it goes when we're in the Lego room. But for now, I'll give you a quick preview. So I'll just connect the wire at the back to a battery box and turn it on. And there you go, very unimpressive. Maybe if I turn off my filming lights, you'll see that when it's under the table, it is a bit more spookily lit, but we've still got the light from my window above my desk, and we've got the general lighting on in the room. So I'm not sure if those lights are worth it. But then again, like I say, when we're in a Lego room, maybe this small amount of light will look absolutely brilliant. So I think it's definitely worth a try, and definitely worth that bedoing I gave it. Right, so I'm trying it with the window blinds closed and the main lights in the room off, just to give you a better idea of it. Obviously the film quality is suffering massively as a result, but here is the light. You see it makes a lot more of a difference when we're actually in darkened conditions. So we'll have to see how that works in the Lego room itself. Because if it's a really rubbish effect like when we had all the lights on, then I think I will remove it. But the feature's still there, and the feature's rather wonderful with this ghost coming out in the way that it is. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Okay, so onto the left-hand side as we look at it. And you'll see that the first thing I've done is actually removed 2 of the tiles, so we can have more broken tiles fallen on the floor. You see the second one's on the floor there. And I've just done that by replacing the modified brick where there was one with a normal brick. So that works really well and makes the whole station look a bit more run down. Another suggestion, better give that a bedoing. Another suggestion was to actually get rid of this City News advert. And I did think this was kind of a good idea because it's kind of a link with our normal subway station as well, in that it's got one. And I thought that would sort of be one of the elements that tied the two together. But a lot of people suggested that I should do something a bit more spooky, and some people wanted the 3D window to be on the side or something. But I did come up with something new, because after all, we do now have a spare black window piece, so I can use that. And what I decided to do was get out my scissors, and I don't usually chop stickers up, but what I've done this time is use the stickers from the Haunted Fairground set 70432 to make a window of eyes. Because I just started the idea and thought that's going to be awesome. So I just kept going because I had quite a few copies of that sheet. So I was able to chop up the stickers that have got about, I think they've got 6 eyes on. You'll see there's a complete sticker there on the top right. So basically that is one of the stickers there. And I just got more of them and chopped them up by cutting around the eyes until I had basically a bit of a collage like that. So I thought let's see if I can get it in, probably going to drop it. I thought that would look extra super spooky. So let's see. There we go. I haven't I haven't put that in yet, so I hadn't seen how brilliant and awesome that looks, and I'm so glad I did that. So yeah, I'm not usually a fan of massacring Lego stickers, but I don't think these are particularly rare or important ones or anything. And for that result, I mean, wow, that just looks brilliant to me. Very fun indeed. So yeah, people who wanted more eyes spookily looking at things in the subway station cannot be disappointed with that one. That just looks absolutely brilliant. Love that. So that's definitely better than our old advert, which I'll put to one side for use elsewhere. Right, other changes are the idea that we wanted something blockading each of these doors, or arches rather, into the tunnel. If we're going to have a trapped train, then basically, well, we need to trap it. So what I thought I'd do is remove a couple of the panel pieces off the end and actually use a setup that I've used before above ground on my regular railway. And that's basically a set of buffers which would mark the end of a track for some train. And I actually had these builds already because when I had a previous city, I had more trains in it, or more train tracks that weren't so circular. So I needed, for the sidings, these buffers. And they're quite intricate, and they are actually spring-loaded using a Technic suspension piece. So the buffers can actually get pushed in when a train hits them. Anyway, I've shown that as part of my, I think it was the video I did on my continuous curve switch. But I've got two of these, so I can add one to each end of this track. And that will mean if I connect it on there, with its kind of hazard striping and its warning light there, it really does look like a blocked tunnel. Kind of hard to show you on the desk, but I think you can see it there. So that definitely looks like something that you can't get down because it's disused and wouldn't be safe. Now that does leave a little bit of space up here where my fingers are to add even more decoration. And some people suggested adding some spiders. So I thought what I might do is add some spider webs with some giant spiders on. So here is a web with a massive giant spider. And if that wasn't scary enough, because that, I mean, I'll tell you, I'd run a mile if I saw that, forget the ghosts. There's that. But what's more scary than a massive black spider? Well, a massive glow-in-the-dark spider, I would say. Much more scary. But then what's more scary than a massive glow-in-the-dark spider? Well, a massive ghost spider. Because you must be able to get ghost spiders as well. If you can have ghost people, you can have ghost spiders. So what I'm going to do, again, probably on both sides, is have a few of these sort of hanging off modified bricks, maybe like that, or maybe from sort of this surface like that. That looks quite good, doesn't it? Just to make the tunnels, which will be shrouded in darkness, look even more out of use. So thanks very much for the window idea, for the buffer idea, and for the spider's web idea. It's really hard to show you all this. I'm probably going to have to go to shaky handheld soon, but nonetheless, you'll see some spider webs there in the corner, and there's our working set of barriers with buffer that moves, spring-loaded. And I've done the same on the other side over here with another spring-loaded buffer and pair of spiders on webs. And I just wanted to add one more spider, which I've added to one of these sort of paddle pieces, I suppose, just so it can hang from a clip that I've built into the wall on this side. So we've got a third spider kind of hanging from a bit of web over the door, or rather arch itself. So I think that looks really good as well. So we've got loads and loads of spiders now, some of which are ghosts, which kind of entertains me anyway. Right, so the next piece I really wanted to get involved was this one. I actually uncovered two of these big eyepieces, which are kind of printed on these shoe pieces, as they're called, this sort of inverted round kind of tile. And I was having loads of trouble trying to attach these. I was thinking of attaching them to the wall as onto tiles or something like that, but the spacing is never quite right, given that it will be on the side and with these sort of studs on rather than anti-studs. So I was really thinking of a way to incorporate them. And I thought what might be really fun is to actually add them on top of these columns. Now that won't work at the moment because they're built the right way up and you're going to have studs on the top here. But what I thought I could do is invert the entire column so we've got anti-studs on the top, so it could take the eyepiece, but then I'd have to basically have the whole column supported via its Technic axle the other way up, kind of like that, with the bricks reversed as well. And I thought that actually might work rather well. It does mean that you're probably going to be able to see the yellow Technic plate underneath, so I managed to liberate some dark bluish grey ones to replace them with. So I'm going to try that as a great big experiment to see if I can invert this whole setup for both of these two columns and enable me to add some really weird big eyes on the top of them, because I think that'd be really good fun. Now, for those suggestions where they wanted a third column, I don't want to busy this up too much because we're going to have a lot of ghosts to add. And these ones will be plenty enough when they've got loads of things attached on either side of these axles. Okay, I think that was a good change. These columns don't look like they're completely upside down, and they're held very firmly with the Technic axles, so you wouldn't really know, and that does allow us to have these wonderful eyes on the top of each column. Because don't forget, this whole setup will be recessed when it's in the Lego room for obvious reasons. It's an underground station after all. So when this is a far distance away from, say, the first standing hole, you'll be able to see some of these ghostly bits from the top and be able to sort of draw your eye into this area and know that it is actually a haunted subway station with a lot more to see. So I think that'll be a really good feature of attracting the eye. Though by the time we're finished, I don't think you'll need much help attracting your eye because it's going to be absolutely jam-packed with action. And talking of action, I wanted to incorporate these energy pieces, which I got on a recent brick haul. They're from one set, 70779, Protector of Stone, and the part number's 11302 if you're interested. There's loads of different variants. And what I'm going to use that for is actually to attach into this Technic pinhole on the column. So it's kind of like it's been zapped by the main ghost, Neymar Reem, and maybe it's sort of venting all this energy into the walls. Or maybe the energy is actually coming from the walls, and maybe this rune is involved. Because I think the backstory that I've kind of pieced together from loads of different suggestions is that Neymar Reem, the main baddie ghost from set 70437, the Mystery Castle, was basically an evil wizard back in the day working for one of the sheriffs of Nottingham who used to live in Brick Nottingham Castle. And basically he was doing more and more devious magic and learning about the necromantic arts and skeletons and all the rest of it, the afterlife. And when he was brought to his end, presumably by foul means, they entombed him in an underground crypt. And they put some very special protective runes in to ensure that he didn't awaken again from the dead, because they were very scared of him. Then roll forward many, many years until this subway station was built. They saw the crypt and thought they would save themselves some excavation time and actually use its space for a subway station. They left the runes because they couldn't be bothered getting rid of those either, but they were the only thing that were protecting the city from Neymar Reem coming back. But maybe for some reason he's now got extra power and he's using his energy that's bolting out of these pillars to attack the runes so he can rise up and take over the city once more. So when that sort of thing happens, who are you going to call? Yeah, the Ghostbusters. I think we'll be seeing them before too long. So I like that story. It's kind of hodgepodge together with from a few different contributions. But there we go. I can add another of those energy effects onto this column and maybe have the piece just inverted slightly so it looks a bit different. And that one will be touching this rune over here. Yeah, almost like I planned it, isn't it? Fantastic. So that's looking really good, because now these two columns not only have eyes on, but massive bolts of energy that are attaching to the runes that give it a really good backstory. So I like that a great deal. Right, so I've got a few more changes. On this wall, I swapped around these adverts because people liked the egg one and thought it was quite light and interesting, so that one should probably be near the front, so thanks for that. This one was from me. I just thought I'd use one of those other stickers from that set that we just looked at that had the Newbury Park stickers on, and this one says City Subway. So I thought I'd just have that hanging off at an angle, kind of like it had fallen off, or part fallen off rather, probably with all these energy bolts going around and all these ghosts. So if I just have that sort of hanging at a very jaunty angle, then that'll look like the whole place is in more of a rundown state. And then you can also see I've changed some of the tiles on the wall for a jumper plate there and for a 1x1 plate there. And that's just so I can basically use some 1x6 tiles to kind of put two boards across this entrance. Like maybe this particular platform entrance has been boarded up because of the train crash a long time ago and the disused line. So I thought, why have ordinary 1x6 boards in brown when you can have a stickered eyed brown board using the stickers from the Newbury Haunted High School, set 70425. And I already had my scissors out after all and was very cut happy. So I made this. So you can see that's a 1x4 sticker on the right and basically half of another 1x4 sticker, but kind of flipped around. And I've done the same for a second one, which has got another sort of 1.5 stickers. And they're slightly different because they're all in a different order. And I think they will look really spooky and fun, basically attached. Hold on, it's getting really hard to reach everything now with all these electric bolts and things around. But essentially, I thought that that could do something like that. Hey, look at that. That's looking pretty good, if you ask me. Let's straighten that one. There we go. Yeah, looking good. So, for those of you who wanted more green beady eyes that were ghostly in this station, I think you've definitely got your wish. Now I'm going to have to take these off again, I've just realised, because another thing that people brought to my attention was that I hadn't put any tread plate stickers on these stairs, or indeed these half ones that are going to be held against a table leg, I think. So you're only going to see it sort of like that when it's in the Lego room. I'm worried that we're actually going to lose the rat hole, but nonetheless. But I hadn't forgotten, we just ran out of time last time. So what I'm going to do is add a lot of tread plate stickers on tiles for the steps. Now I'm going to use my usual assortment of different types just to suggest that they're going off into the shadow. So the very top two steps will be these really dark ones. Then the next two steps can be darkish ones, which have sort of got more of the sort of grey colouring. And then the bottom two steps, which we'll be able to see a lot more clearly, can have this sort of more silvery colour. So I don't know if you can see that, but we've got two sort of silvery light ones. The middle ones are kind of light grey, and then there's some dark grey ones there. A couple of them are a little bit damaged, but that's probably a good thing because I'll not be able to tell when they're in here, and essentially we'll use the better ones on the steps, say coming up the main steps at street level. Now, how am I going to do these ones? Well, what I've done there is I've literally chopped 3 more stickers in half. So I've chopped one of the silver ones in half to make two long silver ones, and I've moved them onto 1x2 tiles using my patented hot tea technique. And then I've got one of the grey ones that I've chopped in half, so that'll make 2 half ones. And then I've got one of the dark ones, which I've chopped in half to make 2 dark ones. So I'll add all of those, and then this side will be done as well. Right, so as if we didn't have enough detail already, we've got tread plates on those stairs now. So that puts my mind at rest because I can't really sleep well without using all my tread plate stickers. And there's the eyes on the boards, which look absolutely great. The subway sign that's sort of at a tilt. The rune, the energy, the eye, the spiders, all sort of hanging off bits and bobs. The barrier through there as well that you can see. Be interesting to see how much of this you can see when it's all dark. There we've got the moved advert and the half stickers for the tread plates. Now I do believe this horrible weird angle where it goes to nothing will be hidden when we get to the Lego room, so don't worry about that too much at the moment. And then the other side we have got the newest edition of a ghost, which is a busker, but a ghost busker with a saxophone and a beard. And that is a homage to my other subway station where I have a perfectly live and well busker also playing a saxophone with a hat collecting change. So I thought, why not have the exact same scene in here, but a ghost guy? So he's not really attacking anyone just yet, anyway, but he is playing along. Goodness knows what he'll be playing as a ghost, but nonetheless. Then we've got a wonderful wall of eyes, which might just be my favourite feature of this station now. The fallen tiles there and there. I think that's everything we did today, new. So there we go. There is our version 2 final subway station. I've just got a couple of changes for the train next. Right, so onto my ghost train, which went down very well last time with this wonderful great big ghost peering out the side of a sort of huge portal that's built into the ghost train. I'm not going to do loads of carriages because I figure that will make the whole thing a bit more diluted. I want this to be bouncing around like it's a single carriage, and pedestrians would get on this type of car as well as it just being an engine. But what I've done this time is added on that second sticker that I just got in the brick hall, so we've now got one on each end. And rather than have these two doors flying open as I was originally intending, I do think they look really good closed and with this sticker on. So I thought in place of one of the grille pieces on the end, I'll just add a 1x2 plate so I could attach the old driver or maybe conductor or guard or whatever it might be onto the outside. And I've also used some of those wonderful slime energy pieces that I got in that hall as well, just to act as very ghostly hands for her. So she looks really spooky indeed, and we'll see her kind of bouncing around on this train and kind of disappearing into one of those tunnels over that barrier piece. I hope. I don't think they're going to hit. I haven't actually tested that yet, but nonetheless. And then for the other end, I had several requests for skeletons. And when my subscribers request skeletons, that's exactly what they get. So I've replaced one of the grill pieces on this end with a couple of those round kind of tiles with the bar that comes out the top, and that's enabled me to connect two skeletons onto it, and I've got one a bit higher than the other one so we can kind of see them both, and they'll be bouncing around on the end of this thing as well. And I'm hoping that they will look good enough and probably represent the dead people that might have been working on the railway line when this subway hit, because that's the other part of the story. It wasn't just an awful train accident where the train crashed and the people on that died. I think it was also the people who were working on the line that got hit as well. So there'll be lots of people kind of squished on the front of this thing in skeletal form. So I think that's a really good twist to the whole train. So now we've got a train with skeletons on the front and a ghostly guard on the back. Very spooky indeed. Right, so I need to get all of this up into the Lego room. And I know that the space is exactly right for the station. Well, I think I know it is. But that means I am going to have to actually break it into pieces just to be able to get it in because it's such a tight fit. So I think we're going to have to go a bit backwards before we can go forwards. And then I'm definitely going to test this Power Functions light in situ to see if it's worth keeping before I get to the point of no return. So, right, upstairs with this. Okay, so we're up in the Lego room now, and it looks like Slimer the Ghost has beaten us to it. But this is the second standing hole, and this is the site for where we're going to be putting this haunted subway station. And it really doesn't look big enough at this stage, does it? That's the track that's going to be at the front, of course, with a small platform in front of it and the big one behind it. And then behind that will be all the other stuff, going right up to those drinks cans and maybe pushing them back a bit as well. So, yeah. As I said before, I'm going to have to basically break up my station just to get it in there because it's an incredibly tight fit if I've planned it correctly. Right, let's give it a go. Right, so I've got two sections in, the middle bit and the back bit, and I just thought I'd check the old light feature to see if it's worth keeping. I really can't decide. I'll probably leave it in. I don't think it's very overwhelming, to be honest. Tell me what you think. It might be that I come back at a later date and retrieve the light bit, but it might work better without other lights on. I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit underwhelming. Wow, so the main body of it is in. You can see that this wall up here is absolutely touching and flush with this one. That will get built into the whatever goes above here in due course. And that corner is right up against there. I actually had to lift this table up just with a few fingers just so I could get the structure that's underneath there in. It's that close. And I have, as a thought, had to remove those ladder pieces that are on the top of this wall just because, well, there just isn't space for them. But you can't really even notice they aren't there because, there just isn't a place for them to go. And then the same on this side as well, where we're absolutely flush with this table. Absolutely no space whatsoever. Flush there and flush underneath here. Not even a plate or a tile space to spare. So yeah, there is our main area in the standing hole, and it does fit. It really didn't look like it would. So next, I think I'm going to add the second live rail to here while I've got the access. Then I can put in the last small platform and then start putting features back in. Wow, that is a tight squeeze, I must say. I actually had to break this front platform in half, right about in the middle, just so I could slide in each end on its own and then kind of reconnect them in the middle, just because the tolerance is just so tight on each side. But it does all fit, and that's the main thing. So really now I just need to set both of these trains going. I've put in the ghost train at the back. It does fit in very snugly, I must say. I have to kind of wiggle it in with its base facing the wall and then kind of set it upright to get it in, but that's fine. So I'll probably have to take out some of the middle ghosts when we put those in order to get it in and out, just to turn it on and off. But if I set it going with a bit of a shove, there we go. There it is in its caged station. Now it is actually occasionally just hitting the buffer on the left hand, or rather the right hand side over here. But I don't really mind that because it's very subtle. It is spring loaded and it's not happening every time anyway. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But I do like the ghost hanging off the back of it, and I do like the skeletons as well. Right, so let's just get our normal subway train coming as well. And we can now see, oh, that just looked awesome, didn't it? We can now see both of our subway trains going through this new subway station before we start dressing it even more. Here comes the front one. There we go. Looking pretty good. Right, well, this is quite noisy and annoying, so I'll just stop that for a moment by lifting its wheels while we talk about what we'll do next. Now, one thought was to add all sorts of different good guys, and I did think about the hidden side good guys. I also thought about adding 11. This is my version of 11 from Stranger Things, with a very sort of gritted teeth face. It's the correct torso, but all the rest I've made out of other bits from other sets. But then I thought I didn't really want her on her own because the scene is quite big. So I thought I would go for yellow-faced Ghostbusters, which I'll show you shortly. But as for the baddies as well, I was considering doing lots of minifigure ones, much like Neymar Ream that we've seen earlier, which I've added these lovely energy pieces to the hands for because they make him look even more ethereal and sort of powerful. So that's good. So he'll just be front and centre, no problem. Mind out for the train. So he'll be something like that. But then I also considered adding these smaller ghosts that were part of the Ghostbusters set. So we've got this one in blue. I've got this one in sort of trans pink as well. And I thought they could be mounted by way of these sort of modified plates with a great big bar on. And you can kind of put one on top of that. And I could build these into the walls and kind of have these flying even quite high above these pillars or something like that. We can't get them too low because of the train. But they might be a really good touch as well. So I'm not decided on those yet. I think I'll put in the rest of the scenes first. Right, so looking pretty good and I'm very happy with it. Do tell me what you think. Right, so I thought I'd run through all the people that I, well, could add to our subway scene and start off with the most important ones, which are the main goodies, being the Ghostbusters. Now, these are from the set Ghostbusters Ecto 1, which is the car one. I didn't get the set, I just bought the figures themselves in the aftermarket. And as you can see, I've coloured them with yellow faces. So there we've got Winston Zedmore, and we've got Egon Spengler, and we've got Peter Venkman, who's probably my favourite. And then we've got Ray Zantz as well, though he's looking a bit unsure, and he's got one of the traps. So this is a very simple build, that. And they've all got their proper proton packs from that set with the printed shoe piece on the back as well. Can you see that? There we are. So they're looking rather good as well. Now, to represent the proton streams that you're not supposed to cross, or maybe cross, if it really comes to it, I've got these pieces. They're hose pieces with kind of a blue inside. I know the colour's not technically right to be film correct, but those pieces are piece 57539. They've been in a lot of sets, including 70172, Antimatter's Portal Hideout, which isn't much of a hideout really when it looks that unsubtle, but nonetheless. So I can piece these into the ends of these proton packs, which I've changed slightly just so they grip a little bit better, and then have the other end smashing right into some ghosts that they're attacking. So hopefully their expressions suit the mood. Pretty much a combination of fear and trepidation, apart from this guy. And that's partially because it was one of the very few appropriate ones I could find with just a normal moustache. But there we go. So we've already looked at 11, who I don't think I will be using, even though she's rather fantastic. And the torso comes from the Stranger Things set, 75810. And then we've already seen Neymar Ream a few times, but now with his energy hand pieces, so he's looking good. And other ghosts, I thought I would make use of this cleaver in spring green by giving it to a ghost chef. So I'm using one of those ghost bodies from Ninjago on the bottom, the tentacle piece from the Hidden Side sets on the top, and the rest are sort of chef pieces. In fact, the torso is actually from the series Artist, but it looks very much like a bit of sort of muck and gore, so I really like him. So he must have been a passenger on the crashed train. And then maybe the driver of the crashed train is next. So I've given him a couple of those slime pieces for his hands and for his head around the collar. He's also got the tentacles on and the ghost piece on the bottom half. Then I've got little girl here, and she's looking very scary indeed, if you ask me. That's something straight out of a horror movie, isn't it, with her face? And I've given her these big claw hands as well from the same slime pack. And she's actually got her green teddy bear from the Hidden Side Newbury Haunted High School set as well. So that's really good to see. And then I've got a couple of these sort of dynamic pieces so I can mount these things at different angles. And I thought I'd mount one using this wonderful waist piece that Jim's got as well, the construction worker, and wings as well. And I thought that he wouldn't need a bottom half because I could have him coming out of a wall, because obviously ghosts can pass through walls and so on. So I thought that would be a really good addition as well. Then we very briefly covered the two literal small ghosts from Ghostbusters, which just will not focus at the moment. And then I thought I might do this. So this is made out of the Goblin, actually, the series Goblin, the faces and the arms. And it's just a really old prisoner torso and normal legs. And I've put this sort of cap on because, as you might guess, he's on an electric chair. Now, why a sort of goblin on an electric chair? Well, if you've watched Ghostbusters 2, the film, There's a bit set in the courtroom there where a pair of brothers who were obviously sent down by that courtroom are circling the roof and basically are attacked by the Ghostbusters. And they represent some murderers from the past or something like that. And I thought by way of a ball joint, Technic ball joint, I could connect those, rather this guy, only one of them because there were two in that scene, to one of those pillars and have him flying around the scene as well. Now, he doesn't really fit in with the other ghosts, but this is the one that I made first, actually, before I had any of the hidden side ones. So I thought I'd try and incorporate him. So do tell me what you think. But I think the more the merrier in a way. So we've got him, Neymar, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, 2 of those, and 2 more over here. And of course, we've also already got the busker, the one coming out the wall, which is a post lady. And is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Whew, quite a few ghosts then. Right, so here is our wonderful scene, and it is packed and stacked just the way I like it. There is a lot of ghosts in here, all on that central platform. And I haven't mixed it up too much with the Ghostbusters on one side and the ghosts themselves on the other side, just because we've still got to have this completely accessible for 2 trains. We've got obviously the ghost train on the back and we've got our functioning train on the front. So I don't want to put anything that's going to get in their way. And with that in mind, I've made these hose pieces go kind of directly up and then over the track to attack these flying ghosts. So here's one that's sort of coming out of this pillar, and the other one being that electric chair goblin guy who's sort of spinning around in the air just like in the film. And that means that I can actually get this train going along underneath all of those hose pieces, which I think you'll agree is pretty cool. So it is a very active scene whilst also being functional. And then we've got the station master here, the busker, Billy Bob, that's right, get it right. Neymar Ream in the middle there, the little girl with her teddy, and then we've got the chef, and then we've got Jim, and also him up there. I'm thinking that these ghosts on their poles, which I've kind of put on very quickly just to show them in effect, might be too much, might be gilding the lily, so to speak. But do tell me what you think. I better set this going, actually, hadn't I? So there is another ghost on the back of that, and a couple of skeletons. And you see they're going almost out of the station on each side. And that's looking pretty good. Might have to do something about the sound effect in due course. But there is my completed haunted subway system with Ghost Train. And I think it's pretty good. Very happy with that. There's a lot going on. I think we'll go to hands-free in a moment, and then we'll be able to give it a lot more detailed look. Oh, and I've almost forgot actually. Let's turn on the light. I'm just going to wait for the other train to go by. There we go. Turn on the lights for the bit at the back. There we go. Did that make any difference at all? Probably not. Oh well. So here we are on shaky handheld. I've stopped the ghost train just so we can hear ourselves think. But here's some other angles. So there's 2 of the Ghostbusters firing their proton packs at this guy, who's kind of attached by a half Technic pin to the other side of that pillar that the bolt's coming out of. I probably will remove these. I don't know if they're too much for the scene or not, but then again they do sort of populate an area that wouldn't have anything in otherwise. There's that lovely new pane we got with all the eyes on. The skeletons hanging off the front of the carriage there, right in the background. We've got the ghost coming through the wall, if there weren't enough already. And the one on the back of the ghost train. Neymar Ream. Little girl. The chef with the cleaver. I do like the cleaver in the yellowish green as well. All those eyes and signs and things we did today. And the spiders in the background. And then this guy from Ghostbusters 2. I forget his name. It was the so-and-so brothers that were sort of an Italian-sounding name. I'm sure you'll know. We'll be able to Google it. And there's Ray and Egon as well. Now this set of stairs doesn't get quite as hidden as I had hoped by this table leg. You can see there's a leg of a table here. It does pretty much cover the back of it, but it does look like it goes into a ceiling. So I think I will revisit that. And it does actually add the tantalising idea that it could actually pop up in this small gap between these two tables. This table will be moved in due course. It needs to be a bit lower to accommodate the fairground. But nonetheless, the subway stairs could pop out of this hole and sort of have an entrance about here. Likewise, on the other side, they could actually come out of this gap, kind of laterally, left to right, and the top of the stairs could be here, going down like that, because it won't actually interfere with our second tunnel. So there's some really good spaces that we can have a very 3D subway entrance, and that would be something along the lines of this sort of thing here, sort of hidden behind my train, but you can see that's 3D because there's Jack from Hidden Side popping out of it. So I'd have another 1 or 2 of those. So it's a pretty good scene. You can see my train whizzing by every now and then. There it goes. And I think with these proton beams, it looks really good fun, if you ask me. It's absolutely crammed full of ghosts. They're a bit in a row, but I think it's nice to be able to see them all, really. You could probably add a few more, but I need a kind of that wide hole just by moving Neymar to get that train out again, just so I can turn it off. Anyway, here are some other inhabitants of Brick Nottingham that have got a Halloween-y sort of theme to them. This young lady has decided she doesn't want to dress up as a ghost. She wants to dress up as a butterfly. And there's 11 there, controlling them all with her mind powers from Stranger Things. More ghosts and ghostly people. And there's Slimer again, eating a hot dog. And there's Robin Pumpkinhead and a few more. So they and I will wish you all a very happy Halloween, if that's your thing. And either way, I'd really appreciate you telling me what you think of my ghost train, second subway station, and all the ghosts and that are inside it. Very good. Right, I better set this ghost train going again. It's quite hard, as you can see. There we go. Oh, he's fallen off. Quick, grab him. There we go. I have to get that in place before that train came bound round again. Oh, so it's quite hectic. But yeah, looking good. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the video's description for details. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I have no idea what we're going to be doing. I've spent so long organising all of this, I haven't really given it too much thought. Technically, we're due a full citywide tour on Monday, but I might postpone that just a couple of videos until Friday, just so I can do a better job of it and do something a little shorter on Monday. So until then, see you!